Thank you, Presiding Officer. The Scottish Green Party supports the Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions campaign because it is a very effective tool for supporting the Palestinian people in their struggle against oppression. There has long been an international failure to hold Israeli governments to account for disregarding international law and ignoring the health, safety and human rights of Palestinians. And as the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign highlights, the 2005 call for boycott came from leading Palestinian cultural and academic figures who urged their counterparts in civil society and people of conscience all over the world to undertake initiatives against Israel similar to those applied to South Africa in the apartheid era. By putting economic pressure on the Israeli government, we can join a worldwide campaign calling on corporations who are profiting from Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories to pool their funding. Presiding Officer, boycott is a legitimate form of protest, but of course it's one that we do not undertake lightly. As my colleague John Wilson points out in his motion opposing restrictions on the right to protest, similar campaigns helped to weaken the apartheid regime in South Africa. And as has been said already by my colleague John Finney, this is not a boycott against Israeli artists who are not being used to support Brand Israel, the Israeli propaganda strategy designed to whitewash human rights abuses. There is a boycott of the Israeli state and those who seek to normalise the occupation of Palestine. And I really think it's important that we understand that a deep and unwavering commitment that none of us should ever forget or downplay the atrocities of the Holocaust and the oppression of the Jewish people is entirely consistent with opposing any abusive actions by the Israeli government or indeed any government. And to argue otherwise obscures the genuine attempts of those who want to see a secure and lasting peace in the Middle East and who believe that the biggest obstacle to achieving this is oppressive Israeli state action. Mr. Carlaw, in his motion, suggests that we should pursue greater cultural links with Israel, rather than boycotts that make clear that Israel's treatment of the Palestinian people is unacceptable. However, to do so while the oppression of Palestinians continues would be to sweep under the carpet the Israeli attacks on Palestinian culture, including vandalism, destruction, closure and military attacks on Palestinian cinemas and theatres, the banning of cultural events, and restrictions on the movements of Palestinian artists. It is truly alarming that still, in this day and age, it is impossible to express solidarity for desperate and oppressed people without facing accusations of bigotry against their oppressor. I do not agree with Mr. McIntosh and Mr. Carlaw that there is growing hostility against Israel. Absolutely every person on this planet is entitled to a peaceful existence, here in Scotland, globally. And I want to work with all parties who can contribute to the end of the occupation of Palestine by non-military means. A just peace in Israel and Palestine could be the catalyst for achieving wider peace in the region and across the world. And efforts to criminalise boycotts or publicly smear those who express support for the Palestinian people can serve only to hinder any progress towards peace. We have the choice of following those such as Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who fought to end South African apartheid and supports the BDS campaign, or failing to play any part in efforts to end this apartheid in the Middle East. Presiding Officer, the cultural boycott of Israel is moderate in its objective, simply to ensure that Israel observes international humanitarian law. Thank you.